fruits. Hopefully very fruit. A couple of months ago, I'm at Madison Square Garden. I'm at the Lady Gaga concert. There are 5,600 people in Madison Square Garden. We're waiting for her to go on. I've known Gaga for a long time. Mama and Papa Gaga are my old friends. I've known them for over 10 years. I met Joe in a bar, and we hit it off. And at the time, Stephanie, Lady Gaga, was 15. And she was already a talented, wonderful writer. She was doing kind of Paul McCartney stuff or Elton John stuff. And she was already playing in New York clubs. And I was correcting her English papers. It was great fun, and she's since then become this major superstar, and I've admired her a lot. She's still a really good person. Anyway, to make a long story short, there we are in really good seats at Madison Square Garden. This is the broadcast, by the way, it's HBO is doing next month. And we've got really great seats. They're cool. We're right above the special seats for all the really big weeks. So, we're sitting there waiting for the thing to start. Paul McCartney comes on. Everybody, all these people down there going, yeah, it's my party, they're me. A couple of minutes later, Michelle Pfeiffer comes on. She turns around and she waves at the audience, everybody's going, yeah! Well, I've had a few drinks. I figure all you gotta do is stand up and go, 5,600 people going, yeah! So you guys, in all seriousness now. Shortly after 9/11, Mr. Peter Stroud and I are sitting in a bar, and we're talking about, we both have the same problem. A World Trade Center has happened, and we don't know how to write horror. We're horror writers, and we don't know what the hell to write about. For the first time, maybe the first time, but we're well and truly blocked. What can you do that's more horrific, especially as both of us are New Yorkers, than this? So it took us a while. I don't know how Peter got out of his, but I know how I got out of mine. I decided I was going to write about terror. I was going to take it and make a smaller personal canvas on it. I was going to write about a guy who goes into bars at night and robs the bars, and at closing time, and he was going to basically gets off on terrorizing the bartender. It's not so important that he get the money; it's more important that he put that fear into the bartender. This is my sociopath for this particular piece, and so I wrote this my novella about terror. It's called Closing Time. Only when I finished it, I realized that I hadn't written so much about terror as I'd written about loss. I've written about loss of innocence, loss of love. A very good reader of mine once told me, I think most of what you write about is loss. I'd never exactly seen that, but looking back at my work, I think damn if he wasn't right. And I'm okay with that. There's lots of stuff in my writing too, lots of other issues, but I think there is a thread of loss that goes through most of my work. And I think that's good, because loss is something worth writing about, fundamentally worth writing about. Sometimes I'm cognizant of this loss thing. If you were here for my story early, the cat, you lose a good cat, you lose a favorite uncle, a relationship goes horribly south on you. Those things you have to write about almost right now, they're immediate. They sort of say, write me, get off your ass, that's what you do, you're a writer, just write me. And so you obey, and you do. Other stories are more reflective. They take a little bit more time to sort of digest and put all these puzzle pieces together. For instance, the cover took me a year even to begin to start writing, because I didn't know exactly, well, I knew I wanted to get the Vietnam experience right, and that wasn't there. So I had to research the hell out of it. But they all, whether they're immediate or they're reflective, come from the same emotional core. Our pains, our concerns, our fears, our loves and losses, They're what make us the individual writers we all are. I think it's impossible for two writers to write the same story. It's impossible. That doesn't mean our canvases have to be small, self-reflective, personal. We can do anything. We don't have to bleed all over the page. We can be fucking ridiculous. Carl Hyacin, for instance, he's funny as hell with a damn big canvas. But he does have his concerns and his fears, the environment, the state of Florida in particular, and the human nature in general. Our first mission as writers, I think, is always to engage, to entertain in the broadest sense. We're supposed to grab readers with our characters and grip them with our stories. A lot of our fiction is essentially cautionary. Don't go into the woods at night, kid. Forget that blonde. She may look good, but she's fucking injured. And that's good. We remind readers that it's a dangerous world out there. It's a good thing to do. But we can do a lot more as well. Our work, it can be a very neat instrument of personal revenge if we wanted to. I don't like this guy. I've kicked my bully uncle's dead ass. I've smacked a sleazy Wall Street guy for abandoning his kid. I even reminded my dad that there was a time when he should have stood up for me, but he didn't. He can be an instrument of revenge, but many, many other things as well, and some of them pretty big things. We get to them through a rousing narrative, that's all. But we have a bully pulpit here, folks. I suggest that we use it. That we go way further than just entertainment. Hyacin, between the laughs, confronts the rape of Florida. Mr. Stroud, in Ghost Story, confronts sexism and guilt, among other things. Stephen King, in Lisey's story, tells you what it's like to have real devotion between two people. Bret Easton Ellis, he takes on New York's smug, self-indulgent hippie culture in American Psycho and Psychos. But fiction is very versatile, particularly suspense fiction, because if we're any good at it at all, we're racing the reader along so well and so fast that it's only when he pauses to take a breather that he realizes that we're actually talking to him about something. I'm speaking about a kind of gravitas here, about having something important that you want to get into in good old genre fiction. What don't you like? Who don't you like? What really pisses you off? Likewise, what do you love? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that there is nothing worth writing about which is not some way about love. I dare you to name one book or one story which has really gotten you under your skin, which isn't. Even writing what pisses you off is an oblique way of telling you what you love. Love, pain, anger, fear, terror, they're all interconnected, and love is the glue. You're afraid for your life because you love life. You're afraid for your daughter's safety at school because you love your daughter. In a story, we as readers are afraid for a character, even if he's a goddamn bottom feeder, because the author's written him so well, he's a part of us by now. We know it. We've kind of come to love the miserable villain. We know his hopes, we know his night sweats, his anger. They're cut from the same cloth as ours. These are the things worth writing about. As a reader, these things don't waste my time. So, I urge you guys out here to write to hurt me. Scream at the skies. Feel free to break my heart, but don't waste my time. Looking around, I see so many familiar faces. I feel like I'm preaching to the goddamn choir. But so what? I figure a mission statement isn't bad every now and then. So that's sort of what this is. The first person to receive this award was my old friend and mentor, Robert Bloch, who was like a patient, surrogate dad to me from the age of about 14 until the day he died. And in fact, until literally the night before he died. The second was Stephen King, who has many times attempted to move heaven and earth to make sure I didn't starve at this game. But there's not a soul among these other 18 people on this extraordinary list of writers who haven't brought something to my own work, often a very, very big something. And I'm honored to be among them. For that reason, and many others, Madison Square Garden be damned, your applause is better.